Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're like, Nogi, but a deal. No. You're that. Oh, that's not even. No, but have you seen Buchecha against that guy Ruston? He was literally just in like bottom half doing nothing the whole match. it's just and then this is when I chain myself up, do what he does, stomp him in the face.
Yeah.
Mate,
Hello, Pete.
if you're not stomping people in the face, like what's the point?
Right, I'll give let's give them 2 minutes, and then let's start. But yeah, just canny Basamis today. The most anti-Pete Cream thing I could have shown on a Pete Cream class. As you can see, my beautiful assistant in BHDS as well. Buy my merch, buy my sponsor merch. Okay, let me get water. Just there.
But when's that guy Mateo coming?
I don't know. It's busy.
So I thought I'd come on Thursday.
Oh yeah, soon. I don't know. Okay. Give me 1 minute, guys, and then we'll start.
Oh wait, do you think I meant the other one?
No, I don't think about it.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It depends when they stop raining. Maybe next week. Also, next Monday.
Yeah.
Downstairs. Is it Thomas?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay, 1 more minute. Get my notes out. Okay, let's start, guys, because it's 7 o'clock. All right, I've got less space today, so bear with me. I've not got one mat here that you probably can't see. So if we move about, it's because I don't want people to get concussed. So right, I'm gonna go over Kanibasamis today. So just leg entries. This can be taught. This can. I can go over this forever. It's very like a. It's very much like a hub position. You can pass from it. You can enter it from the bottom. There's just a lot. You can enter it from the top. It's a very robust kind of position, and it's very useful. If you're a guy that's trying to come up on top and pass, or a guy that wants to keep good top position, there's a lot of good reasons to use it. Okay, I'm going to go over some really basic stuff today, and then a mishmash of some other stuff. But I don't know. Depending on how it goes today, I might continue with it or go into something else. But yeah, it's a big nice position. Okay, so to start off, we're going to go over the Munch versus Gary Tonnen match, which is a very good match to see single leg X and Kani Basami in general, because it's funny seeing it against Gary because obviously his team is very well known for it. Someone using it against him is very interesting because you'll get to see some things that Gary tries to use for counters and the ways that Munch kind of goes around those counters in general. Okay, so let's start off with this match between Munch and Gary. Let me turn the volume off. So everybody can see this, yeah? Cool. All right. So here, this first little bit we're going to look at is just a nice, simple single leg X entry. All right, because this is a nice nice starting position to go to before we start going to reverse X Kanibasamis. Okay, so just this sequence here, even from the start here, you'll see Munch is trying to do something. Munch does something kind of interesting here. Is he's got control of Gary's arms. Okay, you'll see this later when I show one of Eddie Cummings' finishes as well. One of the main things as a bottom player, especially when you're trying to go for legs or just in general, you never ever really want to get someone to control your legs. Yeah, one of the big foundations of having a good guard. One of the rules that this is Rob Deagle told me. One of the rules that Eddie Cummings had about his guard was he would never want his ankles to go past his knees. Okay, what I mean by that, I'll just show you quickly. Okay. Okay. So, me and guard here, if at any point we'll manage to get my ankles above my knees, okay, I'm in a bad position to defend my guard. It's very, very hard for me to keep my guard here. So most of the time, I always want to keep my ankles in front of my knees. I never want them to pass, because as soon as they start passing over, very easy for them to stack me and start doing lots of different passes from there. So you'll see a lot of people from bottom guard, especially like Munch is doing now, and you'll see Eddie Cummings later. Munch is doing, sorry, you can't mute. Is he's making sure he can control the person's arm. So now it's harder for Will to harass my legs because I control his arms. And later I'll show you what Eddie Cummings does. He has a different grip. But at the moment, Munch just has a 2-on-1 grip to stop it here. Okay. So we're just going to see this nice simple single leg X entry, and then I'll show it, and then we'll move on. Okay. So sorry, Mike. Yeah. So it's being choppy. So. Munch sits out, gets shin to shin, sits back, and gets the single leg X, okay? Just one more time. It sits back, single leg X, comes in, okay? One of the other things Munch does there defensively is he doesn't let Gary get inside control, okay? Which is another important part about guard retention, is especially when leg locks are at play, you don't ever really want someone to get inside control on your legs. So let me just turn this so we can see me, okay? So let me just go over that nice simple single leg X entry first, okay? So cool, right? So what Munch does there is, first off, when Gary gets his inside control, gets his leg into the inside position, okay, he posts off, sits back. So he makes sure he doesn't, Gary doesn't keep that inside position. Because if he has inside position, there's no way I can get my shin to shin, right? And it's also easier for Gary to start coming into stronger positions to start passing. I don't have to play reverse delegate and stuff like this, okay? And Munch is more of a single leg player, okay? So just for this nice first entry, what I'm going to do is he gets control of the back of the leg, okay? My secondary leg in this position, I don't want it out in the middle of nowhere, because this gives Will opportunities now to start controlling my leg and start attacking, okay? So I always want either my secondary leg behind my leg that's going shin to shin, or very, very close, tucked behind his other leg here, okay? When I'm entering and going into the single leg X, when I pull back, I need the least amount of weight on this leg possible. If I'm pulling his other leg in, which some people show sometimes, if you're pulling the other leg in, I'm adding weight to this leg, which makes it a lot harder for me to lift up. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I get my scoop grip, okay, I can have my hand behind to stop him pushing me down, okay, or I can get a very tight grip here. I either get a far away grip, like with my hand in a claw behind his knee, or I can get an elbow deep grip, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly fall to my right shoulder here as I lift his leg up with my shin that's touching his shin, okay? So I fall to the floor. Most of the time I'm going to be pushing off of his other leg, so more of the weight is on that far leg and this leg's lighter, okay? So I'm pushing on the far leg, controlling. I fall to my back. Now all I'm going to do is straighten this leg out, and his shin is going to slide down my shin and end up in the pocket of my hip. So his leg slides down and goes into the pocket of my hip. Now it's easy for me to throw my legs up, my one knee in the middle, okay, and the other leg on his hip, okay. One important detail when you get this position is, okay, my foot goes to his hip, okay, my knee comes up, and I want my hips behind his knee. The lower my hips are, if my hips are on the ground here, it's very, very easy for him to strip my leg and start passing, okay. So I want my hips very high, okay. So my hips are high, like my hip is right behind his knee, and my butt's on the floor. My knee now touches my ankle together, and you see this secondary foot I have here, should be able to see it. This doesn't go on the same side leg, because now if it goes on the same side leg, he can start moving this leg around, okay? Make it easier for him to be mobile, okay? So my leg here is going to go on his bar buttock here. Okay, so now if he tries to back step, it's a lot harder because I have my leg behind his leg. So if he tries to move now, it's a lot harder because my leg's behind. And now I can do simple sweeps like turning my knee to the outside, okay? But that's not what we're going over today. One more time really quick. shin to shin. Okay, I get 5 grip this time. I can push on his knee. I'm just falling down. Bring his leg up, shin. His hip goes, his ankle goes to my hip. I bring my hips up, knee in the middle. My knee touches my ankle. Okay, so as my leg comes up, look, I want my hips behind his knee and my knee to touch my ankle like this. And my free foot, this foot here, is behind his far buttock hip. So it's harder for him to move now. I have control of this leg and I have slight control of the other leg with my hook. If my leg was on this side, it'd be harder for me to clap my legs in general, and it'd be I don't have control of his secondary leg unless I had my hand to control it like this, which is be very easy for him to kick forward and get out. Okay, so I always want control of his far leg. Okay, now let's move on to the kind of Somi. Okay, so. Okay, so onto the Kanibasami now, just a bit further through. Okay, so one important thing Munch does here is he gets an underhook on the leg that he's controlling. Okay, like this. Okay, now it's a lot harder for Gary to put weight on that foot. Okay, which makes it easier for me. Makes it easier for Munch to move Gary's hips about. He's much more underneath him. Okay, Gary can't put a lot of weight down on that foot, meaning as he pushes forward, it's harder for him to keep stable. Okay, so now what Munch is going to do, he's going to keep moving back and forth. Okay. Okay, now another very interesting thing he's doing here, which is super important in the Kanibasami, okay, or reverse X position, sorry, is he wants Gary's arms to the floor. Okay, he wants most of Gary's weight on his arms. If you're trying to lift someone up and all their weight's in their hips and legs, it's extremely difficult, especially if you're going against someone that's a lot bigger than you. So you always need to be moving them to get their hands onto the floor. Usually, it's a bit different in this position because Munch goes straight to reverse X in this case because he's more in a kneeling position. But usually, you will off balance him in an X guard, get their hands to the floor, and then go to the reverse X. Just in this sequence, it's a lot easier for Munch to just go straight. His hands are already on the floor, so he went straight to reverse X. If the guy's hands are on the floor or his weight's on the floor, don't worry about going to X unless you want to sweep them. You would immediately go to reverse X and go to the century. So he's in reverse X now. He lifts him. Munch's main goal here is to get his hips as close to his head as possible. Okay, so he's trying to raise Gary's hips above his head. And what he's going to do is he's going to extend his bottom leg and catch the leg here. Okay, and I think he also uses his hand to assist. Okay, so look, he switches it. One sec. Oh, have I got the wrong thing? The sequence happens a bit further on that. I didn't write down. Okay, here we go. One sec. Okay, there we go. One sec. So single leg X. Reverse X, hands on the floor, switches to underhook, assists with his secondary arm, and he's in Kanibasami now, okay? One more time, the whole sequence, and I'll show you. Single leg X. Pushing him off so his hands go to the floor. As in Kanibasami, switches to an underhook. He has better control, and it's easier for him to use his secondary hand to assist now. Pulls his leg in, and then catches Kanibasami, okay? I'm going to show you a slightly longer sequence so we just understand all those different points, okay? And then we'll go over why he doesn't manage to finish this and why other people do, okay? So, what happens here? Turn this off. Okay, so let's go from the single leg X just so we can understand, okay? So we'll start from the single leg X. Okay? So what happens here is he moves off. He's more of a kneeling position, which is exactly the same as if Will had his other knee on the floor. This is a very similar position. with his leg here, it should be impossible for him to bring his knee down. And it would be even more hard when Munch gets his underhook grip like this, okay? So what's going to happen now is most of the time this X guard sequence will happen is either I force it by just switching my legs to an X guard, or Will pills my top leg, okay? And as Will pills my top leg, my hips kind of go lower. Now my leg that was on next to his butt comes down and goes to the inside of his knee, right? And now my secondary leg comes to the inside of his hip, okay? So as I do this, I never want my knee to come inside of his legs. My knee comes inside of his legs, it's very easy for him to start leg dragging me and passing up to the side, okay? When I switch to this X, my leg basically turns outwards and I just feed my foot in. You see how my knee never went through in between his legs? It just feeds through. So as I'm here, my leg comes through and I put it on the crook of his hip, okay, the pocket of his hip. So my shoelaces are touching the pocket of his hip, and now my other leg is inside of his knee. Right? Okay. So now we're in that position. Usually, what I'm going to do to get Walter off balance is I'm gonna just straighten my legs out. Okay. So I do a little bump with my legs to make sure he's off balance. If I just try and do anything from here, it's very easy for Will to keep his balance and start putting weight down on my legs, start putting his hands down, move and back stepping and getting out. Okay. So what I do here is I do a slight bump. So now he has his base is widened, and it should be easier for me to turn Will to his hands. So from here to get him to his knees, okay. My knee that's in my leg that's the one with the shoelaces in the pocket of my hip. I'm going to use this knee, okay, to knock him forwards. Okay, see how his knee comes down, and when I knock him forwards like that, his hands have to go to the mat. Okay. Now his hands are to the mat, I can go from traditional X to reverse X. Okay. Also, when this happens in Munch's case, he uses his hand to pull his head down, which is also good. He also switches to an underhook grip. So how he does that is he grabs the back of his knee so he can't turn it back out. His elbow comes in and he gets a scoop grip above his knee. Okay. You always want to be controlling above his knee. He'll be able to kick out if I don't control above his knee. Now, when I switch, you see how before with traditional X, I had my leg inside of his knee and the one on his pocket. I switch that bottom leg to the top leg, and my other leg comes up. In this case, both my legs are close together now. They're not separated like they were before. They're both really close up to his hip. Right? Now what I'm going to do, like Munch did, I'm going to elevate my legs over the top of my head. I'm going to elevate my legs over the top of my head. So his hips are over my head. It will be easy for me to move about. Okay? So I lift his hips over my head. I keep my scoop grip. Now, because I have my scoop grip, or even before, I'm just going to go and switch off to control the back of his knee. Now, I don't straighten my top leg, because this is the thing that's keeping him up. Okay, and I'll end up in a weird position if I straighten both legs. I just straighten out my bottom leg. My leg straightens out. Now, my leg that's straightened out, my knee can go behind his knee. And now I control. I'm down. I'm in this position. Okay. The reason why it's also good for you to have a scoop grip early on is I already have the legs separated. If I still had that ankle grip, I'd have to start separating the legs again. Okay. In this scenario, when I have a scoop grip, it's very easy for me to immediately go start attacking the heel. Okay. But if I had this leg here, if I tried to go and attack the heel, the other leg's in the way. I need to start separating the legs first. Okay. In order for me to finish, I need to separate and finish. Okay. There's three major points of getting a finishing leg locks in general. Okay. Is my control position, which is the Kanedazami itself. Then I'd have to separate. Then I've got separation, which would be separating the legs, and then finally would be actually doing the actual break itself. So you always want to be thinking about those three scenarios. Okay, I need to control him first, then I need to separate legs, and then I need to do the break. All right, so one more time, really quickly. Shin for shin, shin for shin. He peels my top foot. Now I switch down to my X. Leg goes inside of his knee. The other one goes to the top of his hip. I straighten both my legs out in X guard first. And now, to get his hands on the mat, I use this knee behind his leg to force him to the ground. Okay, I also can turn my body to help this happen as well. So I use that, and his hands go to the floor. Okay. Now from here, I switch my legs. So look, both of them go high now. This one's high, and the other one's underneath, also high. They're not separated like they were before. They're both high up onto his far hip. Now I'm going to do basically like a curving motion. So I'm extending him out and then up and over. So I extend it out and then up and over. Now his hips are over my head. I can switch my grips. Switch my grips before. Grab the back of his knee, pull it in as I straighten out my bottom leg. Knee goes behind his knee, and I can switch and go down. Okay? That's just a nice basic way to do it. Okay, there's a lot of there. Sounds like there's a lot of moving parts to it, but it's actually not as bad as you think. Okay, and don't just think of this Kanibasami position as a position just for leg locks. Okay, because it's a very, very good position for leg locks, obviously, but it's also good to come up on top and start passing. Okay, I'm probably not going to show much of that today because we've already gone 20 minutes into it. But you'll see Gordon use this and a few others to sweep, come on top, and start using it to threaten. Okay, it creates dilemmas. Like if you're in that Kanibasami position, you can attack legs. You can come up and start passing. If you expose your back can get taken. There's a lot of different things people can do from there. But it's just nice to think of it as a leg locking position. Okay, but don't think it's not used for passing. Okay, so one of the things you see in this sequence, sorry, because I want you to see this quickly. Okay, that's not in this sequence. It's the sequence before. Okay, Gary stands up, and you see how his hand goes to his far knee here. You see how his hands are coming underneath, and he's grabbing his knee. And just before this, you see how he's trying to. So 1 minute, just let me just show you what I'm talking about. So from here, you see how his arm around here is pushing on Munch's knee, and he also had the other leg as a scoop grip later on. What Gary was trying to do here was feed the leg all the way through. Like I was saying, you shouldn't try and let it happen before. Okay, if you willingly let it happen, it's your fault. You made a mistake basically. What I mean by that? Okay. So if Will's knee ever came out like this, so at the moment this knee is behind my back. If his knee ever came in front of my legs, it'd be very easy for me to push it to the side, and from here I could even start smashing him and start passing. Or as you'll see in a bit, you can go for leg locks. Okay, this is why it's very important you to stay on your P's and Q's here. Your knees need to be flared out. You never want either knee going too far past one position. Okay, because that's when you get passed. You always need to be in a good position here. So what I was saying here is, what Gary was doing is he's getting this hand, he's getting it to the knee and trying to push it through. And also after on, as an extra, he was trying to come through and grab his knee to pull it through as well. Okay. Unfortunately for Gary, he wasn't successful in this. He wasn't successful in doing this. Okay, this is a good counter for this position in general. Unfortunately for Gary, he wasn't successful in doing that transition. But someone who was successful was Jason Rao. Okay, so I just want to show you a Jason Rao match really quickly. That sequence. Let me just open up, guys. Okay, 1 sec. Okay, so this match here, okay, you see Jason Rao successfully hits this entry. So, like Munch was an old Marcelo Garcia guy. Danny Morea here is also a Marcelo Garcia student, so he's very good at X, single leg X and just normal full X. Okay. 1 sec. Okay, here, 1 sec, we'll go back. Nice, fairly good Berimbolo entry there. So look, single leg X and then X. Okay. Now what you're gonna see Rao do is, look, he's gonna get that far scoop grip that Gary was doing earlier. to the inside knee, and he's going to pop it through so his knee's in front of his legs. See, he goes both two hands on this, I'm pretty sure. So pops it through. So he pops it through and sits back. Now he is in a better position to start leg locking. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'll show you one more time, the entrance itself. So look, X, hand on his knee, other hand on his knee, he keeps balance, shoots it through, and now he has control of that leg. And now it's you see how he gets his leg here, but now it's a slow fight for him to get the hill. At no point does he get out, he's just fighting for the hill the whole time. Okay, so let me show you that sequence quickly. Okay, so now what I can do here, well, so what I can do from here, if I'm in X, from here, okay, is so Ball's in a good position here, his bottom knee. So what I do is, so what I do from here is my left hand here comes in between my legs and I scoop grip his knee. And now what happens is with the other arm, I can push his knee through and then get this grip. Okay. What happens is he gets slightly off balance here, so he gets his grip, balances off, comes back up, pushes it through. Now from here, I can sit back comfortably. He has inside control with this leg here. He has inside control with his leg here, but as soon as, with my outside leg that he was underhooking, as soon as I pummel it in, it's very easy for me to extend that leg and bring my other leg in. In this scenario, he goes to almost an outside saddle, which I'll show another time, but then he can start fighting, and he slowly fights to the heel from there, okay? One more time, quickly. So X, my hand comes through, scoops his leg, brings it through, okay? Now from here, I could even fall forward and start going for the hill here, but in this scenario, Rao sits back, shoots his leg in the inside, so I've got my inside hook now. Now I can extend his leg, pummel my leg inside, and now we're in a nice saddle, start finishing, okay? Right. Okay, one sec, so, let's go on to, let me just show you Eddie's finish, okay, and then we'll stop, okay, so Eddie's finish, so, here. Okay, so this is Eddie's match against Enrique Coco. This is a really, really nice Kanibasami, and also a nice finish, okay? That kind of blends in. I'm going to also show a mix of two things. So look, you see how Eddie, like I was saying earlier about people not letting people get control of your legs and lifting them up. This is what Eddie Cummings is really good, especially in this match. Is as soon as Enrico gets any kind of leg control, he's immediately coming underneath, grabbing his triceps and lifting them up. Okay, this is the entry itself. So let me go back quickly a bit. Look, Enrico goes down to his knees. The very useful bit here from Eddie is Eddie controls this, controls the second leg throughout this whole sequence. If he didn't control his second leg, there would have been chances for Enrique to sprawl out on him and start using it to like leg weave pass. Okay, so what's good here is you see Eddie has control of the second leg early, so you couldn't base out of it using it. So let's go back one more time. He comes in, gets inside control of both of his legs. He elevates, controls the second leg, and now gets his Kanibasami. Very hard for him to base out because he's controlled by both legs, and he's here. Okay, he keeps control for a very long time here. So I'm just going to move to the finish. So what happens in the finish here, which is very, very useful for finishing in general. Look, he separates the legs here. You see how he's separating the legs with his elbow. Now, what happens here that's bad on Enrique Coco's part is, number one, Enrique Coco's leg gets bent during a backside 50-50, okay? The reason it's easy for Eddie to get this finish is, number one, because they're in a backside position, which I'll show in a bit. Because they're in a backside position, Enrique Coco can't hand fight. And secondly, Enrique Coco's leg gets bent, making it easier for him to catch the heel. Okay. If Enrique Coco's leg was straight in this position, it would be impossible not impossible, it would be very, very hard for Eddie Cummings to get a good heel exposure and collect his heel, okay? So, yeah, let me go this finish. As he spins through, he gets a bite on the backside and he finishes it here, okay? So let me go through that myself to show you what's going on there. So from here, it was more of a butter half position here, so it was more of a butter half position here, okay? So what happened here, in this butter half position is, you can't see it on the video, but one of the things that Eddie does here is he brings Enrique Coco over him using a frame, okay? You can't see it because of the camera angle, but basically he has a frame underneath here. And he's also controlling his secondary ankle, okay? So I have control of this near leg, because of my hook and my other leg behind. But what Eddie does here is he controls his secondary leg and pulls it in as he goes through the sequence. So there's a hand on his knee, a hand on his ankle, a hand on his armpit, and he uses that to push him forward to start going for this entry. Okay, so let me move my legs a bit so you can see better. So as he elevates, those are the grips, I'm using them to push him over with this hand and my hand on his ankle. And I have my hook in. Okay, so as he gets this finish, he elevates him with this leg that's in the middle. His leg comes out underneath, comes under his knee, and then locks up. Okay? If I didn't have control of Will's leg here, like this, okay, and my knee comes to his far hip, it'd be easy for Will to smash me down now. Even though I have control of Kanebasami, it's easy for him to get my back on the mats. Now if you start straightening his legs out, it's very hard for me to keep control, and he's in a very good position here. Okay, so the beauty of that entrance was him having control of that second leg made it impossible for the guy to do that. So one more time. So I have a frame, I have control of his leg. Now I elevate using my hook. My leg comes underneath, comes behind his knee, and I get my control. Now I still have control of the second leg. If he tries to base out on it, he can't because I have control. Now all I need to do is I can shoot my hips up, bring him to the mat, and then get control of both of his legs, which is what Eddie does. Okay? What I mean by backside now is what happens in this scenario is Enrique Coco starts to turn, okay? And it turns into a backside Kanebasami. So when the guy's in this open position here, and basically both our hips are facing the ceiling, this is the position where you want your leg bent. So we'll turn his leg, he would hide his heel, and his leg's bent here, okay? It's hard for me to catch the heel now. And it also forces us to start rolling. It also forces us to start rolling. In this position, if we start rolling and he keeps his leg bent, which is what happens, you see we're in a backside position now. If Will tries to hand fight with me, he can't. He can't. He's too far away from me, okay? And we're both facing away from each other. This is a good position for me to catch the heel. You see if I turn through and I can catch the heel here, right? So it's very easy for me to catch the heel in this backside position. Okay. If his leg was straight on the other hand, if his leg was straight on the other hand, if I try and bring it, let's go. So if his leg was straight here, if I try to catch his heel now, it's basically impossible, okay? It's very, very hard for me to bring my hand up. If I was to get his heel, at some point I would have to cause a bend and then catch the heel. And then I roll through and finish. Okay, this is what I mean by backside position. So when you're going into that, when we're both, me as the attacker, I want his leg bent when we're both bending down, and I want his leg more straight when we're both facing the ceiling, okay? If you want to see someone who's good at defending from Kanebasami, I didn't want to put it on because it's a hella boring match, is Tanquinho versus Eddie. It's not a boring match, it's just a slower match. There's a lot of, it's a long, the one sequence where Eddie gets him in the Kanebasami, he manages to roll out, you'll see his leg is straight in the sequence, he doesn't get his heel caught. And in that sequence of Enrique Coco, he lets his leg get bent in that position. And that's why the finish happens. If you want to see, just like the match we watched earlier, the reason why Gary gets out of that position earlier in that match with Munch is actually because his leg's straight in that backside position. and he manages to slowly work his way out. Let me try and see what I got back. Guys, give me a second. my notes have failed me. What's it called? Anyway, I'll show you another time. But if you want to rewatch that match versus Gary versus Munch, when he gets that kind of Basami entry, he manages to straighten his leg out in that position and slowly get his way out. Okay, so Gary watch. Okay. I'll just show you one more entry, which was one of the first ones I'll show you. I'll just show you one more entry and then questions. Okay. So this is basically one of the sequences. I showed earlier. Okay, so let me share it with you guys. Okay, so this is a nice sequence from Gordon Ryan here. Okay, getting the Kanibasami as well. So what he does is he's got a shoulder crunch, moves to single leg X. Okay, he's trying to control Danis's other leg as much as he can. And what he's going to do here, okay, he's going to elevate exactly what he's doing over here. As you see, he's elevating Danis's hips above his head, and now his bottom leg is going to come underneath and lock up the Kanibasami here. Okay. Now he starts to separate, but unfortunately the time goes down. Okay, so one more time, I'll show that sequence. This is good because it's also a nice showing of he was going for an upper body attack and he switched down to a lower body attack. Okay, what Gordon was going for here was a shoulder crunch Shumigeshi, which you'll see him hit on Bushesha. He's basically doing the same sweep he tried to do on Bushesha. Danis bases out on his leg to make it harder for him to do. Okay, so look, he's going for the sweep. His leg bases out. He realizes he's not going to get the sweep because he's trying to keep the leg out. Okay, so now look, his leg's up to post. Now he brings his knee under behind. Gordon brings his knee behind Dylan's knee, and that allows him to control the leg. Okay, that's one of the important things about single leg X. Okay, he uses his knee to pull him in, lifts his legs up in this reverse X. His hands are on the mat as well, so it's easy for him to do this because all his weight's on the mat. Now all he needs to do here, because Danis's hips are above his head, it's very easy now for Gordon to bring his bottom leg out, switch, and get to the Kanibasami. Works for separation, but it's the end of the match. Okay, so let me try and show you that sequence quickly, and then you can ask questions. So in this scenario, okay. Okay, so in this scenario, Gordon gets shoulder crunch grip. Okay, so you can start in a head and shoulder pinch. So I've got head and shoulder pinch. One of my hands is going around Will's head, and my other one's going underneath his shoulder, and I get my grip. My other hand now switches to shoulder. So this was it'd be a head pinch. Now I switch to shoulder crunch. My hand goes with my forearm comes from over his head and underneath his neck. Okay, and I've got my pinch here. You'll see Ross does this a lot. He goes violent arm bars. Okay, this is a very, very good sequence. This is why Ross is so successful. He's very good at attacking upper body and switching to lower body, especially with these grips. Okay, so he gets this. The sweep I could hit from here because I have control of this arm. It'd be easy for me to sweep Will to this side. Okay, but to stop this, Dylan Danis does something smart and he uses his leg to base out. Okay, so now it's very hard for me to sweep me. Gordon tries to kick out with his leg, but his base is too good here and he can't do it. So what he does is he switches, he brings his knee behind Dennis's knee, and he doesn't even need to use his arms in this scenario. He uses his knee to scoop and bring his leg in closer. Now I can completely let go of my upper body grip and switch down to my lower body grip. Okay? Now he's here, he switches to get, Dennis's hands are already on the ground here, he wants to keep base. He switches to get his leg underneath, and then Gordon uses his free arm here underneath his leg. I can't show you switch on. So he uses this free hand here to his far leg. He lifts up. His hands on the floor. He lifts up. See how my hand underneath this knee here. He switches off, catches his kind of Basami, and then it's too late for him to get any of the finishes off. Okay. So next week I'll go over the finishing the heel hook, and also some top attacks. Okay, because just as a quickie, if I have Kaligusami here, okay, if I feel my opponent turning away from me, okay, I can go for back attacks. And you've got the other way. You see this sequence of Gary versus Yuri, which I'll show next time. He gets a scoop grip of the arm and starts attacking the back. Also from here, if Will's back's on the mat like he was before, it's very easy for me to get underhooks. Now all I need to do is bring my leg from behind his knee to in front of his knee, and I'm immediately in a very strong knee slicing position. Okay, so my knee was behind the knee here. Okay, I can switch my legs in front, underhook, and start passing from here. See, I've already passed his top leg, which is usually going to be one of those things for people with guard. I'm going to start smashing and using knee slices. If he starts pushing back on me, makes it hard for me to do that. I can always just switch back to going to legs into backside. The backside kind of beside me, sorry. Okay. Any questions before I shoot off? No? Okay. Right. Next week I'll go over that stuff. What's this kid doing here? I haven't seen that face in ages. Alright. Alright. See you later, Deezer. Huh?
You got a question for Will.
Okay.
Will, you got us covered, yeah?
Wait, what?
Have you got us covered?
Yeah, no, very covered.
Nice, sick.
Okay. Hey, one day I'm just gonna let the Zoom class be Will screaming about deep half works in MMA for an hour and a half, alright? Okay, right. See you later, guys.
Yeah.